Sorry, ahead of time. I haven't quite got everything fluid memorized, so I'm going to have to read some of them and do my best to not let it be too distracting. It's going to be a lot of words. I'm be talking at you a lot. I'm talking about fighting, what this class is about. It's a lot easier to just explain it by going through the class. Some of them might not make perfect sense to you. You know, questions are okay, but we got a lot to go through. So a lot of the questions will probably be answered as I go through the class, and afterwards you can kind of have a copy of this, follow through, and we can talk about it. I've got another paper that is a bigger version of this also with me if anyone wants to read a little bit more about what I'm going to talk about. What I'm going to talk about is OODA loops. A lot of you guys have heard me talk about them. The OODA loop is just a way to describe your decision cycle, how you make decisions. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of use this as a way to explain fighting, think about fighting, and also talk about how we train for fighting. Again, just like footwork, the goal here is to focus on how we train for fighting and how to make sure we're doing training well. So that's kind of our focus, what we're trying to shoot for. We're going to do a lot of lecturing, about half lecture and half drills. And so I think everyone's in armor, so armor drills will be more fun, so you guys will enjoy that. So I'm just going to kind of get into it and kind of go through this, show you guys some examples of things. I may have Pat or somebody help me out here, so I'm just going to get right into it, talk about what do I mean by OODA loop. OODA loop is describing your decision cycle. It just stands for the fact that you observe your senses and you orient your observations to decide what you think is happening. Second part, OO, then you decide what you're going to do, and then you act out your decision. Observe, orient, decide, act. This is basically a way to break down your process of making decisions. We're going to use this as a framework to start talking about fighting and how we think about fighting and how we go about fighting. So that's kind of a real rough idea of it, but I want to illustrate it by having us all kind of have a thought experiment here. I want you to imagine that you're in a fight at a tournament, marshal's called lay on, and your opponent starts walking towards you. So as your opponent is moving into range, you observe them as best you can. This observation is being fluid because they're moving towards you and they're moving quickly. So you have to make a lightning quick observation as they move into range, figure out what that means. Alright, let me read. With a lightning quick observation, you must then orient this movement of your opponent, what it means, what are their intentions, and how does it fit into the overall picture of the fight. So these are the types of things that you have to observe and orient very quickly as they walk into range. This is an example. Once you make a lightning quick observation, you orient it, you try to determine what everything you see means, and the next thing you have to do, based on this orientation, is make a decision and act it out. When the opponent's walking towards you, make a quick observation, and you have to figure out what it means, make a decision, act out your decision. Say he comes to throw a leg shot. Very simple, right? Just walk towards me, throw a leg shot. Observe, orient, decide, act. See how fast that is?
Yeah.
That is your decision cycle. And over the course of a fight, you're going to go through several of these loops. And you see when you're in range, just go through these loops. You might go through a dozen loops while you're in range. It might only be one or two, and then you're right back out. Right? Depending on how complicated it is. If you can make faster decisions and act them out based on proper observations, orientations, you have a better chance to win the fight. Make sure everybody understands that. You make better observations, you understand your observations better, you make better decisions, better actions, be a better fighter, you have a better chance to win. It's a super simple concept. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this concept. We're going to try to hope that you understand how it applies to fighting by the end of what we're doing. I'm going to give you a couple of quick examples to try to break it down and make sure we understand it. I'm going to talk about something we probably all experienced, a leg fake, so a rising snap. Seem familiar to anyone? But a lot of new people fall for this shot. So we're going to think about this in the context of OODA loops. So let's say I go here, he's observing me. I go, so he observes this motion, he orients that as a leg shot, he decides to block it, acts out his block, and I change to a rising snap. So what should he have done when I changed? He should have observed the change, oriented that was a fake and this real shot, made another decision, and acted out the block. So this is an example of, if I come in and I go, I'm going to leg fake him and throw that shot, I'm basically programming two decisions, and my goal is to get my opponent to start only making one decision and not being able to react to the second one. So this is an example of an OODA loop in action head to head. And this is why you want to kind of have a grasp of this, because the answer is, as the opponent, is I should observe, orient, observe the leg shot, orient it, decide. As I'm acting out that block, I am observing him immediately.
Starting another loop.
I'm starting my second loop. I observe him. I orient that it was a fake. I decide to block with the post. I act out the post block. So by practicing this concept, you can see that you can start training yourself to make faster decisions. And really the key is, once you make a decision and go to act it out, you immediately are observing for your next decision. Immediately. That's going to be our focus of this whole class. If you are not observing your opponent in a fight, you should be observing your opponent. Whatever you're doing, stop and find your opponent. Makes sense, right? I can't see. So you go to look for your opponent. So not only do you got to find your opponent, you want to do it safely. Kind of try to address that. And then kind of another example, just to show you a little bit more in-depth version, is say we're fighting and Titus notices that we do a whole bunch of, we'll throw a few fights and then I disengage and I drop my guard and I get out and relax. Look at him come in, we do a couple exchanges, and as I'm disengaged, he figures out that I'm dropping my guard when I disengage, so he's not necessarily trying to throw a shot that wins. He's trying to get me to disengage again so that he can take advantage of my dropping my guard. So this is, you might have 3 or 4 passes. This is an example. If you run several loops, you disengage, you process that information, come back in, you go through several loops, and now I'm backing out, dropping my guard. He's making another.
That was my first.
He's making another decision, acting out, and I'm still stuck resetting. So these are examples of why you've got to start training yourself to immediately think that I am observing my opponent. Because you will observe, figure out your observations, decide, act it out, observe. If you just focus on observing, you will always run through your loop faster, and that's part of our goal here. A couple of things I want to talk about is that probably all heard some example of you can't think when you fight. Call this too hot for thought. When you're in range during a fight, little time can be spent actually orienting what's going on. Like once you're engaged in the action, it's just super fast. You will react as you have trained. It's going to be a key. Your conscious thought in this case is not directed towards figuring out what's going on. It's just directed to action and reaction. Action and reaction until you have room to actually stop and think. All of us have probably been guilty of a couple of things I want to show you. You've heard you can't think when you fight. You heard you can't think in range. What you're doing when you stop to think, you are interrupting your OODA loop. It's really pretty simple. Just like if you blind yourself, if you stop to think, you are no longer focused on observing your opponent. I've got a couple examples of me personally falling guilty just to illustrate this. They both were with Bobby, Sir Bobby, His Excellency Sir Robert, at fighter practice last year. In one case, he came out and he legged me. So I'm down on my knees and he comes up over me and he throws like 3 or 4 or 5 shots. And I just block them all, and then he stops throwing, he stays there, and he just does this with his sword. And so I just see his hand moving up, I just throw him right in the face. Never even saw this. Boom, hit right in the face. He was looking right at me. Didn't even see it. Sound familiar? Another example is me against Bobby also. So I was fighting him and I did this combo where I would step left and then I could throw this wrap. And I throw it and it almost got him. So I step back and I'm just like, that almost got him. I'm going to do that again but better. And I go to do it and I get right here and he flat snaps me right in the head. Because I got so committed to my plan to execute it, I stopped observing him. And you just moved your sword out and hit him in the face. So, sound familiar? Sure, we've all seen or even committed something similar. So this is an example that your decision cycle is what we're interrupting. So I'm trying to emphasize that OODA loop is occurring in the course of a fight, and our goal is to get a better grasp of our decision cycle and train to improve it. We can do some drills to work on that. But before we do, don't ever drop your guard in range. Did I say that? Yeah. We'll say it again. Don't ever drop your guard in range. At fighter practice, we're fighting. Get out of range. Even when you win, even when he calls it good, get out of range with good defense. Make it a habit. Because even you think you throw a good shot, you drop your guard, he didn't think it was good. We talked kind of about that earlier. Even if you think you won the fight, get out of range with good defensive posture before dropping your guard. Never be on the field someone that can kill you in a fight in range without your guard up. Really simple concept. But how many times have you seen a fight? Fight. Oh, he can still reach me and I'm out here. I did it to Tigger in a crown. You know, he's fought me a lot. We go to disengage and I just stepped sideways to disengage and he was wide open. He just dropped the shield because he thought I was too far away. So don't drop your guard until you know no one can reach you. This will be good for battlefield awareness. Make sure you know what's going on. Don't do this. You know, do this to look around. You know, these are just good habits to start kind of trying to think about training. Alright, so what I want to do, I want to run us through a quick little drill. Just grab your weapon and shield. You don't actually need all your gear for this. I want everybody kind of come out here, pair up.
I'm gonna have to get up.
A lot of information. Apologize ahead of time. All these things I'm talking about, all these little examples or habits and stuff are in the paper that y'all can read. You'll be able to kind of go over these. Don't worry about remembering them all. Alright, everybody kind of look at their opponent. We're going to talk about observing. There's a lot more you can be looking at than just their weapon and shield. You should be aware of various other things when you observe. Which of their feet is closest to you? Is the foot his weapon's in closer? Or the one his shield's in closer? Because if the one his weapon's in is closer, he can reach me from further than I might see. So you should be looking at that. Just try to be aware. So I'm going to do a little bit of a drill. This side is going to be defending for this first part. You're just going to stand your ground. By defending, I just mean you're standing your ground. Because you're actually the attacker. So this side is going to be what I call the attacker. All you're going to do is you're just going to walk all the way to here. You're going to stay here and they're going to walk through. So you're going to throw shots. As many shots as you can throw. And half speed. I want everyone to kind of slow down and just think about this. You're just going to kind of go in. All I want you to do as you walk in is see the block all the way to your block. See the block all the way to a block. And just close it this. So basically like this. Just get to here. That's it. Alright? Be careful. And if you guys feel comfortable putting more armor on, go for it. Just try it out. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for coming in. You're nice. You should be able to get 2 or 3 shots out of it. Just see. A little bit slower. Try a little bit slower. Just try to see. What you're looking for is if you go block with your shield, look at where you're blocking with your shield and get your eyes back to make your next block. So I want to slow it down so you have time to kind of go through it. Alright. Good. Reset. Alright. Alright, so what I like you guys to do is just kind of trade roles. So now this side's going to stand your ground and throw shots as this side walks and chambers. Alright guys, everybody hold. Alright, so what we're trying to emphasize here is making a block and getting your eyes back to where they need to go to be able to make the next block. And then getting your eyes back and to get us comfortable in doing that and getting to here. It's one of the biggest things people have problems with. You know, get to B range, get to A range. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to teach ourselves how to go about getting, and the way you do it is eventually you're going to get good enough that you can see where you're going and your eyes will get quicker at getting to the next stage. So by doing this, I see the block, my eyes see the block, my eyes go back to him. My eyes see the block, my eyes go back to him. This is what you're trying to do with this drill. So I'd like the pace to kind of match. You know, step, see the block, step, see the block, step. You want to have time to observe the shot, observe your block, observe them, observe the next shot, observe the block, observe them. We're running like 6 OODA loops. This is a very small drill, see? Alright, so let's just...
I'm going to steal one of your swords.
Alright, so basically go back to the first setup and do the same thing. Just keep this in mind. Alright, bro. Yeah, try to get a couple more shots in. Try to get 2 or 3 shots during there, bro. At least 2, 3, and we're both doing it.
You're coming out.
Throw the blow, right by the blow.
Alright,
Here.
so Just the point of emphasis, we're talking about observing, we're talking about making intelligent observations, so just kind of rehash. Remember that all this time you have people fight, a lot of people waste. Just realize there's a lot of value in the ceremony that we have in the SEA to prepare you for the fight. So as you're sitting there and as you're saluting, when they salute, you pretty much get a good picture of what hand the weapon is. Follow the end of the weapon to the tip. Look at where that goes when they get into the guard. Know right away. I know if I walk up and he's just pointing the sword at me, I'll be like, all right, well, I got to make sure he can't just stab me in my face. Yeah, he's just doing that. You're gonna have to be aware of it. But if I just kind of walk up and I'm kind of looking around, and then suddenly I'm in range, he's ready for that. So use that time before lay on to start observing. Start getting yourself observing. Observe. I fight like this a lot. So that's the type of thing you should probably know. Am I coming at you like this? Because if so, that means every time I take a step, I'm trying to get there. If I come at this, then you realize that you can start attacking their shield before their sword can get to you. You can gain a lot of useful information. And what that information does is it helps us with the next step of our decision cycle, which is orient. And one of the problems with our observations is that we can't, first of all, humans can't actually be consciously aware of all the things your eyes can see. There's just too much information to take in. This has been proven repeatedly. Talk about that in just a second. The other problem is even the information that you do get may not be very accurate. It's only accurate for a fraction of time. For a very small fraction of a second. My observations are only good for as quick as I can think of the next one, because it's changing so fast. And so these are limitations to observations. You're never going to see everything, and you're not going to be able to make sense of everything you see. We address this with how we orient our observations. We talk about how we start thinking about and training our orient, and we'll give you guys an example just to emphasize the point. Anybody heard of a selective awareness test? Has anybody heard of the invisible gorilla video?
Yes.
Right? So what that is a selective awareness test that proves a very valuable point for us to keep in mind as we go into training. In the video, a group of 6 people, 3 in white shirts and 3 in black shirts, have 2 basketballs, and they're moving around and weaving around and throwing passes to each other. And what they do in the video is they ask you to count how many passes the people in white shirts make. And so over the course of about 20 seconds, they run around and they make 15 passes. Very weaving, intricate, you have to really pay attention. Well, in the middle of the video, they're in a big circle, right? In the middle of the video, a lady in a gorilla suit walks up into the circle of them, looks at the camera, pounds on her chest, walks through the circle off the camera. Seems pretty clear that people would see that gorilla. But what they have found is that half the people that watch the video don't even see the gorilla. They have no idea it was there. Because they're watching the pattern of the passes. So the thing is, you want to laugh, but what's scary is every time they do the test, half the people that watch it don't even know the gorilla exists. They aren't aware of it. This is how humans, this is a problem with how we perceive the world, how we see stuff. And what they've learned, luckily, is that you can train yourself to see the gorilla by learning how to be more open-minded. If you're a good multitasker, you're probably going to see the gorilla. If you really have to concentrate on one task at a time, chances are you're not going to see it. So you can really find this out about yourself by taking a selective awareness test. You can get videos online. But the nice thing is we can work on that. This is an example of a limitation in vision. It doesn't apply to everybody, but it does apply to a lot of the people you're going to fight. And so we're going to, this is our problem. How do we fix it? We fix it by developing our judgment. By developing our open-mindedness, our ability to not be distracted by patterns. Thank you. We'll talk about that some more. And how do we start working on developing our judgment? How do we work on how we determine what our observations mean? And one of the problems we have is that there's a lot that goes into how you make a decision. Your cultural upbringing. Are you from a shire where all the people there wear a lot of armor and come out and swing as hard as they can? If you go to that practice every week, chances are you're going to come out and fight like that. And people that fight like that tend to have big, slow, drawn-back shots. Well, then you go to an event up north, you go to fight somebody, and they run around a whole lot, and you're this big, slow, telegraphing shot guy because of the culture of the place you fight. So you have that going into how you make decisions. Your genetics. Are you a guy that can jump? Do you have long arms? Are you shorter? Do you have shorter arms? Are you super athletic, or are you not quite as athletic as some people? This is going to affect the type of decisions you're going to make. Your past experiences. Every time you've done anything related to what you're doing now, those experiences are going to affect how you make your decisions. The observations you're making now are also going to affect how you make your decisions. And so it's important to realize there's a lot going into this. We're going to talk about a couple of ways that we can work on developing how we orient our observations. Oh, it's going to take us a bit longer. The first thing we can do, first thing you do is you start by developing a mental toolbox. Anybody heard people talk about having a toolbox? What that means is a lot of people in the SCA that I've met believe they know the right way to fight. And they will teach all their squires and anyone that asks that this is the best way to fight. But the problem is that is just a way to fight that may happen to work for that guy based on his genetics and his culture and his training. So that doesn't mean it's true for everybody. So what we want is we want to learn as many styles as we can. You never know when you're going to be learning something from some guy you're meeting for the first time that makes so much sense to you that you're just like, oh, I can't believe I didn't get that before. Having those conversations are going to help. You want to learn as many shots as you can. If you come out and you can throw 3 shots, eventually everyone's going to figure out how to deal with those 3 shots. So you might want to have 6 shots. Makes you twice as hard to predict. If you always come out and post block, I am guilty of this a lot. I like to post block with my sword. Well, people that figure that out figure out how to push my post blocks back, and then they can take advantage of the onside. So if you always are blocking one way, your opponent's going to be like, every time I throw that shot, he does that block. So I'm going to fake it and hit underneath that shield because he's raised it every time. So what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to post block that shot and dump block that shot and shield block that shot so that your opponent can never quite know which of the blocks you're going to do, and he can't prepare his decisions ahead of time. He has to be constantly observing new information. He can't be like, he does that every time, so I already know what I'm going to do. Fake that leg and hit him right in the ear, you know? It's like, so, but if he comes out and does that and then you block, you drop your shield and you post block the next time, instead of just dropping your shield, then now he doesn't know next time what you're going to do. So now he can't plan ahead. This is why having a lot of tools in your toolbox is valuable. So you should be thinking that I should learn as many shots as I can. Even if it doesn't necessarily work for me, I should still try to learn it. You never know when you're going to be in a situation that exactly fits that shot, and you'll wish you had that tool to use for that opportunity. A couple of examples are don't just throw flat snap. A lot of people get really good at flat snapping. But this is a flat snap. This is a flat snap. This can be a flat snap. You know, you can throw all these different angles. And by practice these angles, and we all probably get that, there's a little opening in the shield, and it's not quite at the flat, so I got to throw with this little bit of an angle, I can get there. You know, practice that. Practice throwing your shots different ways. You know, what I like to do is I throw a flat snap, and I'll throw a flat snap like this. It's like, so weird stuff, you know. Yeah, you just never know, though. Yeah, if there's shots that you don't know, blocks you don't know how to make, chances are you're not going to make them in a fight the first time. Like, you might make it and then have no idea how you survived, you know? So the key here is we want to train all the different blocks, because we don't want to believe that just by looking at something we think we can do it when the time comes to do it. Because we don't really work that way. You may get away with it a few times, but if you don't practice it, it's not eventually not going to work for you. They're going to do something slightly different and take advantage of that. So really, keep that in mind when we talk about training. And here's another point. Really want people to think about this. Is a lot of people lose a fight, immediately get dejected. So right when you've ended a fight is your best opportunity to figure out what happened in the fight. If you get all dejected and go do whatever off the field and then try to come back and think about it, it's no longer fresh. Something I want everyone to think about is, again, aggressive training bad habits. Because if I'm fighting someone and I make a terrible mistake and they hit me, I get super upset. Don't just go, I'm upset. Go, why did I make that mistake? Right? Not just, oh God, I screwed up and he won. Why? Because if I think about why, I might be like, oh, you know, he did a fake, and I just wasn't aware of it. And so I reacted to that and then died, because right now I'm thinking about why was I open? Why was I so open that he just hit me in the ear? Don't get dejected when you lose. It is way better to direct that energy into understanding why you just lost. Because that is a repetition. That will help you get better. Fighter practice, great example. You get done with the fight, you guys have an exchange, you win, they call good, and you just get back up, all right, you ready? Come back in, no. Come back here and go, all right, why did that work? And if you're that guy, go, oh man, why did that shot work? Take a moment to think about it. Have conversations at practice. You gain a lot of value by thinking about what just happened. And then you do that enough, and eventually you go fight 8 fights and then come back and tell people what happened to everyone else. How many people struggle with that? I know I do. I get done with a fight and people are like, dude, how'd you do that duck? And I'm like, what duck? What are you talking about? Like, I don't even know. You know, I constantly, if you start thinking about this immediately after a fight, you will get better. This is something you can train that a lot of people don't think about. Train how you think about fights you just had, and it will get easier to remember fights you just had. Alright? Yeah, there's a couple good things to keep in mind. Did you fall for a fake? If you did fall for a fake, did you fall for the fake because you blinded yourself or for some other reason? Because then if I fell for it because I blinded myself, what would have been a better reaction? He did the legs, you know, he threw up high and I blocked up here and then he went offside, to offside body. And because I blinded myself, I couldn't see him going to the next shot. So instead of being like, oh my God, I didn't even see that shot, he hit me so hard. That might happen anyway. But try to think, why did that happen? It happened because I was here. What would have protected me? Keeping my shield here and putting my sword here. Try to think about the things that would have solved your problem. This will help you. This is the key to training. Don't waste your time in gear. Armor is heavy. Hard on our joints. Getting hit hurts. Don't waste those. Every single shot thrown, every single shot you get hit by is something you can learn from. A lot of people do not take advantage of that, even though they'll spend hours and hours and hours in gear and not improve, because they're just not making the most of that time. We should make the most of it, because it's not easy. This is why people like Albrecht. We fight all day. We like the SCA because this stuff is harder. Alright. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about for orientation through observations. In the course of a fight, I was at Task last year. Sir Dimitri showed up. I'd never seen the guy before. The guy from the knife in the Howlands that's not relaxing. Came to fighter practice, he's whooping everybody. Like, I have a couple fights that come over and people are coming off the side like, oh, I got Dimitri. Like, oh, what happened? Next guy comes on, says, oh man, Dimitri. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm fighting Dimitri. He's like, where's Dimitri? Oh, that guy. And I watch him fight Sebastian. Dimitri comes up, he does all this stuff, he hits him in the leg. And he hits him in the leg when we're underneath. Crowds up on him, forces him, and beat him every time. So I see him do it to Sebastian. I see him do it to Johan. I see him do it to Alistair. I'm like, you know, I think he wants to hit people in the leg and then crowd him. So I'm going to go fight him. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my shield down here and not let him hit me in the leg. Because now I want to see what else he can do. So Dimitri comes out, we fight, keeps trying to hit me in the leg, can't hit me in the leg. Now he switches gears to try to hit me in the head, and he is no longer doing what he was comfortable doing that day, the thing that was working for him. And it was really easy to spot just by watching him fight other people. Like, why is Dimitri winning? Oh, everyone's just letting him hit him in the leg. I'm just going to, at fighter practice, I'm just going to come out and overblock the leg, because this is practice, right? So we can do stuff like this and see what else he's got. And it turns out I was a little bit better at hitting him in the head than he was at hitting me in the head. So he hit me in the leg one time, and dear God, I never want it to happen again. So these are examples of, you're at fighter practice, you're in a bear pit, right? You can start looking at the people you think you're going to fight. And instead of just watching a fight, look at that guy you're going to fight during the fight. What is that guy doing? Ignore the other person. I'm watching him. That's the guy I'm about to fight. He's going to win the next 3, I think, you know. I'm going to watch him fight them all. And I'm going to realize that every time he's fighting, he's covering his eyes with his shield and ducking. So if I can make him do that, maybe I can throw a shot that hits him when he's uncovering that. So you can make intelligent observations and start planning how you're going to make your decisions. Use your time. Always train well. Alright, now trade. Other people walk forward. You're going to walk forward. Post block. Be shielding here. Try to focus on the post. I know it may not be a block you normally use. Nope. Sword up above your hand. What are you throwing off there? No, flat hand.
No, I realized that. I was like,
okay.
yeah.
Everybody get that a couple times?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Reset. Now we're going to do the same thing. You're going to walk in, he's going to throw the shot, and you're going to dump block. The sword will be pointing down. Everybody get that? Dump block. Alright?
Oh, right,
So throw, again, you're just throwing a flat snap. No. Alright, everybody get it? Get those in. Alright, separate. Alright, we're going to do one more. Same thing.
Nice.
Same thing. So I want you to walk in and block your flat snap with your shield. And then walk all the way to him. Right? So this side's going to walk forward. You're going to flat snap and then block with your shield and then get all the way to him. Right? Okay.
You walk in. Yeah.
So keep in mind, you should be able to see your opponent the whole time. You should not be blinding yourself with your shield. Everybody get a couple of those in and switch sides.
Yeah.
You should not be blinding yourself with your shield. When you make that block, make it so you can still see your opponent. Here, I'll give you an example right here. Alright. You know what she's going to do. If you look at that and then walk in like that. When you go to make a block, don't look at the person look underneath, right? Yeah, so why so drop it. Alright, there you go. You can keep your shield lower. It's good enough right there. See how this corner is up here? Just so you don't have to lift it. Yeah, I probably should do it like this. Yep, there you go. Alright, everybody hold. Okay, we can go through this a lot more. What I'm trying to illustrate is we just did the same thing 3 different ways. And some people probably felt way more comfortable with one than the other because you probably don't practice dealing with it often. This is an example of a very simple way to block a flat snap with 3 different ways so that your opponent doesn't necessarily know which of those it's going to be each time he does it. All I'm trying to illustrate is try to think of this when you think of other things you're going to do. It's like, think of, I can do it this way, but if I do it this way, how many different ways can I accomplish the same thing? I just want this to serve as an example of what I mean by that. So everybody get that we did the same thing 3 different ways to accomplish the same goal. Alright, so that's really what we're trying to emphasize with that drill. Alright, everybody drop your stuff, we'll have a chat for a second. The main thing video is how you orient your observation is going to determine what decisions you can make. If you see something wrong, you're going to choose from a wrong set of decisions. Does that make sense to people? It's like if I totally misread the situation, it may not be that I made the wrong decision. It may have been I was choosing from the wrong set of decisions. So we're going to talk a little bit about this decision. Okay, so the main thing video is how you orient your observation is going to determine what decisions you can make. If you see something wrong, you're going to choose from a wrong set of decisions. Does that make sense to people? It's like if I totally misread the situation, it may not be that I made the wrong decision. It may have been I was choosing from the wrong set of decisions. So we're going to talk a little bit about this decision. Okay, so the more blocks, the more shots, and the more stances you know, the less predictable you will be, the more decisions you'll have available in a fight. Just kind of emphasize that. We just showed how having 3 different ways to block the same shot makes you less predictable. The more shots you can throw, the better chance that in the course of a fight you're going to decide on the right shot. You know, let's just assume that in a particular situation there's a right shot that can win. If you've never thought about that shot or practiced that shot, you may not be able to throw that shot. So the more decisions that we have available, the better chance we will make the right decision. This is why we emphasize training as many styles, learning as many shots, learning as many stances, learning as many blocks. We want to have more decisions to choose from. Ultimately, what you're doing with your OODA loop, you're taking your observations, you are orienting it and narrowing down your decisions to one choice. All hundreds of decisions you make, you're narrowing down to one. It's a pretty important step. But that's really all there is to it. Just how well you orient your observations are going to determine what decisions you make. The more decisions you can make, the better chance you're going to have to make the right decisions. Pretty simple math. More times you see the same situation, the better chance that you will recognize that situation faster the next time you see it. So a couple good examples, seeing the situation where we just did a post and dump block, right? In fact, we'll do this in a drill, so I'll just go ahead and have everybody come back for a drill.
Hey guys, if you haven't already, make sure you check in at gate.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I know we're kind of going long.
You guys are pretty long. You're about 15 minutes over now.
Well, we didn't
He got permission from the following instructor to be over.
We're almost done. We just got about 10 more minutes. So. Alright, so everybody line up like we just were. This is going to be basically the same thing we just did. So keep in mind, you're going to add an element to show how to build this drill. So everybody find your partners. Alright, so the way this is going to work, this side's going to approach. What you're going to do is that he's going to throw his flat snap, you're going to block it, and then throw one shot, and the drill is over. Right? So what I want you to do is I want you to post block and throw offside. I want you to dump block and throw onside. And I want you to shield block and throw whatever you want. Right? So the post block is going to set you up to throw this shot. A dump block is going to set you up to throw this shot. And a shield block is going to give you a few more options, right? So I want everybody to just kind of go through that. So start, this side's going to walk forward, post block, throw offside. That's the end, right? Try to throw right, slowly
You're coming at
over
me,
the
I'm
top.
hitting, and you're doing and then you take that extra step and then make it outside.
Walk forward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is everybody done all three? Alright, so I just want to emphasize a point, guys. So all we did was we took that first drill, and now what you're doing is you're making a decision of the shot you're going to throw before you make a block. If I come up and I realize that my opponent, every time he throws a flat snap, is dropping his shield, so say I come up and I post block it, and I'm like, man, his shield is like down there when he throws that. Next time, we're going to walk forward and he throws, I'm going to dump it because he's open, right? So the point here is this now gives me a reason why I want to make a different type of block. I made post block because I think that's open. I made dump block because I think that's open. And I may want to shield block because maybe I think his leg's open, right? So all we did was the same exact drill. We just added the decision we're making into it. And now you see why there's value in having different varieties of the same thing. Because I have more decisions available. There's a lot more shots I can do because I know how to make the blocks. Does that make sense? Alright, now we're going to do one more drill. Very similar. When you can walk up to your opponent. The attacker is going to just throw at you until you see an opening and throw back. So he's going to walk up, block, 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 and as soon as he throws the shot, the drill's over. So what you're doing, block, 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 and while you're blocking, you're trying to figure out where to hit him, and then throw one shot. As soon as you see an opening, throw.
We're blocked.
Yeah, you're, so here's the difference. You're defending, but you're throwing.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So he's going to walk in, and you're going to throw. He's going to throw one shot. Yeah, they're doing really good. You know, as soon as you block, 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 you throw your one shot, stop. Look at each other. Why, look at that. You guys are going pretty quick. So that might be.
And I was totally,
Yeah, we can talk about that a little more. If anyone has questions, we'll talk about it. The idea here is you're blocking, 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 and you're trying to make a offensive decision. And so eventually, you can do this as a drill. Just block and block and block at full speed until you find an opening to throw at. And that's really the point of the drill. It's how to teach you how to go from defending to making an offensive decision. A lot of us get trapped, always blocking, never make our own decision. So this drill is how to help you start making your decisions and not just reacting to their decisions. Right? So these are drills. The idea is I'm just trying to show you drills that you can go home that you are good drills to practice. That's kind of the idea here. So we're just going to talk about one last thing, and that's act. Yeah, we can talk about that a little more. If anyone has questions, we can talk about it. The idea here is you're blocking, and you're trying to make a offensive decision. And so eventually, you can do this as a drill. Just block at full speed until you find an opening to throw at. And that's really the point of the drill. It's how to teach you how to go from defending to making an offensive decision. A lot of us get trapped, always blocking, never make our own decision. So this drill is how to help you start making your decisions and not just reacting to their decisions. Right? So these are drills. The idea is I'm just trying to show you drills that you can go home that you are good drills to practice. That's kind of the idea here. So we're just going to talk about one last thing, and that's act. We do have one last drill we're going to do. But all act is the physical playing out of your decision. Pretty simple. All it is once you make the decision, act it out. So the most important thing about act is once you make a decision, act it out immediately. Don't go, I should throw an offside head. Oh, I missed the opportunity. Throw the offside head, right? It's simple. The idea here is anytime you make a decision, act it out immediately. I'm going to give you an example of something I see at practice that we all need to be careful about. I come out to fight, I'm like, I'm going to throw that leg. Oh, he's already got the block. Oh, stop the shot. Anybody ever done that? Anybody seen people do that? What are you doing? You are training yourself a very bad habit. You would be way better to make your decision, act out your decision, and follow through in a natural defensive rhythm than to try to stop it and reset entirely what you're going to do. So whenever you make a decision, even if you make a new observation that makes it obsolete, get in the habit of acting it out. Don't get in the habit of canceling your decision. And I see it at practice constantly, especially new people. They're like, I got a great idea, and they'll look at the leg and they'll throw it and they'll see the shield and they'll stop their shot halfway, try to stop it, physically come back. They'd be way better off to make him have to block it, right? Make him actually have to block the shot, and you get a nice practice of a good return back to deep. But you've already made the observation. I've already observed he blocked it, so in my return, I'm observing where my next shot can go. Because if he's blocked that, his head should be open, right? So it'd be way better to go, oh, he's already blocked that. What else is open? Than to go, oh, he's already blocked that. Let's reset and start over. So don't make it a habit to stop decisions halfway through. Act them out. And then the other thing I see, or I want to say, is what I just kind of mentioned. Sometimes you're in a fight, and you'll fight, and then suddenly you'll be like, man, I can see his back. And then suddenly now I can't see it. You thought to yourself there was an opening, and you didn't hit it. And I think we've probably all experienced something similar, where you have this moment of, oh, I had an opportunity, I missed it. That's, you thought. You stopped to think. That's you stopping to think. So even if you do that and you go, oh, it's too late, follow through with the decision. Even if it misses entirely. Even if they easily block it. At practice, even if it puts you in a horrible defensive position, act out the decision. If you're going through practice and you're seeing openings, recognizing them and not throwing, that's how you're training yourself to react in a fight. So it's way better to act out a good decision late than it is to cancel a good decision. So these are two things I see at practice and two easy things for us to correct. Get rid of these bad habits. Follow through on your shots even if it's blocked, and when you do recognize something, force yourself to follow through with it even if it's irrelevant. Because the process of acting out a good decision is better for you than whatever else you're doing with it. So I have one more drill, but we may cancel it because I do need people in full armor. Actually, if everyone's lined up, I'm going to show you the drill. You can decide to do this later or something. So get your opponent real fast. This is our last drill. This is about acting. And I want everyone to be very careful and not blast all your buddies in the face. So what I want everyone to do is to come up into B range and up into close range. Alright? So this side, right here, is actually the attacker, and we are the defender. So what I want you to do is you are going to throw an offside face. Here, a little bit further apart. Christine, all you're going to do is throw an offside face. But when you're going to throw it is as soon as he starts to move. So what I want you guys to do here is I want you to just throw a shot. I don't care what shot. And as soon as I start moving, I want you to hit me in this piece, right? So as soon as you recognize he's moving, throw an offside face. Offside face. So as soon as you recognize any motion, throw the offside face. The first thing you see move, throw the offside face.
Offside.
All right, so anybody notice anything? Anybody?
Always open.
It's always open. So here's the thing. We're lucky because we're all right-handed. What's going on is any shot I want to throw, the first thing I really do is vacate that zone. And so what we're training here is act. Act. Basically, you can do this at fighter practice, and it's actually hilarious and a lot of fun. You just come up, and you're like, I don't care who I'm fighting. As soon as I see anything move, I'm throwing that shot. And maybe they just do this, and the block's right there. Maybe they go to throw a flat snap, and you throw right over and they hit you, right? Chances are you're either going to foul their shot or hit them in the ear. And it probably seemed obvious. You either foul their shot or you kill them. Rarely you'll lose. You know, so I just did it at a fighter practice once. I sat there and I felt focus. Just get into range, as soon as they move, throw. It's really actually hard to do full speed. But with a little bit of practice, I went to a practice, did like 50 fights in a row. Just hit him right in the face. It was just one of the, just first move. So people started trying to fake it, but I was still fouling anything they did, and then being able to build off of that. Now eventually people started ducking it, and then I missed, and then I was wide open. But the idea of this drill is this is a drill to you just stand here, and you're just acting on the first thing you can see. You've already loaded your decision. You already know what you're going to do. And also, it's a great thing to have in your repertoire. You can win a lot of your fights with that alone, as you probably just saw. So this is a drill to emphasize just act. This is why it's important to act. Why it's important to just act. Right. I got one last thing I want to talk to you guys about, and then we're done. We're going to talk about tempo. Tempo is a pretty hard thing to actually explain, it turns out. So we have a couple of ways of using OODA Loop to talk about tempo. And the first thing is, obviously, the faster you go through your decision cycle, the faster you can make more decisions. The faster your tempo can be. So you can think of, you train yourself to move through all these OODA loops as fast as you can, and that is kind of as fast as your tempo can be, right? As fast as you can do it is as fast as you can go. So we all have like an upper limit of tempo. Now the key of tempo, we train OODA loops to make that as fast as we can. If I can make 5 decisions and you're only making 3, chances are that's enough for me to win, right? We saw it with the leg kick. If I'm going through 2 things and you're still just making 1 decision, you're open for that thing. So the idea is if I can make more decisions in a shorter amount of time than my opponent, that's an advantage. That's only part of tempo. How fast you can go is important. The key to tempo is changing the speeds that you're going, changing your rhythm, changing a pattern. Right? If you got a shield, it'd be like this. If I just go, just a little hesitation, we've probably all been guilty of this before. What happens is you go block, 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 reset. And what they do is they go shot, 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 hesitate, wait for you to reset. This is a brief example of what I mean by changing your pattern. You can come in and go, come in like this. I go 1, 2, 3, disengage. Come in, I go 1, 2, 3, disengage. Come in, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Because she got used to the disengage as the rhythm, and I changed it. This is a change in tempo. You get this rhythm, you get this tempo. She's resetting, and you're changing the tempo. You're throwing a 4 shot.
That's a killer for Florentine fighters, especially when you're going 2 sticks up because it's
Yeah.
and you just get into this rhythm and they just slot shot you all the
In the
time.
great weapons fighters, Bastard Sword is the big one. People start throwing, and each shot gets higher and higher in the blocks, and then you come up underneath, right? It's just a pattern. Break the pattern. Tempo. I go as fast as I can. Throw it lazy. How many people have probably been through that? Like, you threw that shot so slow, I blocked it, and then unblocked it. That's what we're talking about. That's a change in tempo. Now, what you want is the ability to change your tempo. The key to tempo is
because it
being
has
able
no
to go
tempo
from
or
fast
rhythm.
to slow to middle, to slow to fast, to middle to slow. Making those transitions between your tempo, transitioning your tempo into different rhythms, different patterns, is the key to tempo. And we're going to do have a drill. Oh, okay. I want to show you guys just one example of tempo. It's a little less thought about, but it's equally as important. So get your partners. All right, you're going to start. This one's just simple. First thing you're going to do is you're going to start in the air. All I want you to do, your defenders over here, right? Defenders. I'm going to throw one shot, and then start backing away. You get a step forward and throw one shot. All right, so what I'm going to do is this, like this. You're just going to take one step forward. I'm going to throw a shot, start backing away, block the shot, get out of range. That's the end, right? So go through, everybody do that. All right, so the key here is I want you to stand there, throw a shot, start backing up, block a shot. All right, switch sides and the other person do it. So you're going to come up and wait. I want you to get all the way pressed. So what you're going to do is you're going to throw one shot. Now start backing away. Take one step forward and throw one shot. That's what you do. And back all the way out of range. Start backing up. All the way out of range. All the way out of range. All the way out of range. All right. Everybody get a couple of those in? Alright, now I want you to do basically the same thing. But this time, I'm going to be the one disengaging, right? This time, I'm going to start stepping, throw a shot, and then he's going to step forward, one step and throw a shot, and I'm going to get out of range. That's all I want you to do. So it's like this. You're going to start stepping away, throw your shot, block the shot, get out of range. Yeah, so you're taking the step as you're throwing the shot. Hey, don't stop backing up. You're stopping when she gets. Don't stop. Back up like 5 steps. Back up all the way.
Keep paddling.
She's only taking one step.
No. Right, that's. I'm sorry. You throw it. Sorry.
All right, trade sides and make sure everybody does it. All right, everybody get a couple. All right, hold. Stop real. We'll borrow you. All right, I want to show you guys what just happened.
And I have like
So here's what happened in the first drill. I threw my shot, started moving, see how close we are, and I have to defend the shot, and I have to take a lot more steps to get away, right? The second thing I'm going to do is now, I'm going to suddenly throw my shot, and now look at how much space I have. What I did was I changed the tempo though. See, this is it's subtle, right? But that's an idea of changing tempo that you don't think about. Stavros here has a really great example that he just told me about, where he does it. Go ahead and show us. Where he goes.
Well, you throw, it's like along with the make a pattern, break a pattern. You leave your shot. When you leave it out there, you can move your body. And a lot of the time, they won't move because they're sort of in position. It's like make a pattern.
Oh, don't react. Yeah. So these are examples of, these are tempo changes. These are making changes. If I come up and we engage, and I go blam, 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 I back away, and then the next time I go forward, I back away, and I go blam, and he throws it. Here, what I want you to do is just take one step first, right? Yeah. You know, you can actually do something like, where we come here, I go, I mean, you can see how far apart we got. I want you to take one step away. Oh. Yeah, that was good. Hang on. So here's what's going to happen. Step away, take one step forward, throw a shot. See how far away I am? Simple. Now, I do it here, I throw the shot and try to step away. I haven't gotten away at all. It's super simple. Big difference. These are ideas. I want you guys to think about. These are all ideas of tempo change. 1, 2, 3. Hesitate. 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1. You know, anything that sets a pattern and breaks a pattern. Anything that changes from fast to slow. You know, a great example is this. Ha, ha, ha. See?
Get back on their feet.
These are all examples of little changes in tempo. So, what I have a handout for everyone. Just kind of is everything we just went over, but a little bit more better organized information than I just did. And so, I encourage everyone to take 10 minutes or so to read it this afternoon and try to remember everything we just did. And remember, don't train bad habits. This is all about how to train good habits. Observe your opponent. Always observe your opponent. Never stop observing your opponent. Don't train bad habits, right? All right, thanks, guys. Thank you. That was a lot of info. So everybody get a whole copy of